Yishem Adonai Mevorach Ma'atam Adonai, Hashem's name will be blessed forever and ever. Today, Be'ezrat Hashem, we're going to talk about we never give up. The real story of Hannah. You heard about Hannah? And we will start with greeting the host, the Kozowski's family. Thank you very much. God bless you for hosting the shiur, making much efforts with treats and all that. So may Hashem bless you with good parnasah and nachat for all your children and good health. Amen. One of the reasons I chose this topic is because it's related to Rosh Hashanah. Do you know in which way? Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech ha'olam shehakol nihya b'dvaro.
Amen. Don't we read it one of the half
Wow, this is strong, huh?
Don't read it. I can water it down if you want. It's Starbucks, sorry.
I'm gonna slip it. I can tell.
I'll see you tomorrow morning then.
I can speak all night. You guys
decaf?
can go to
You
sleep. I'm
want
going to keep speaking.
I offered you decaf. Isn't it weird because we read it on one of the Haftorahs?
After the first hour was first night, first day. We're reading Hashem Pakadet Sarah, that Hashem blessed Sarah. She was childless. She couldn't bear children. And Hashem blessed her. And this is what we read the first day of Rosh Hashanah. And the Haftarah is the story with Hannah. Hannah has more or less the same issue. Okay? Shalom Aleichem. So, the Talmud teaches us in Tractate Rosh Hashanah, page 11, Yud Aleph Amud Aleph, that 3 akarot. You know what's akara? Akara in Hebrew means childless. A woman that cannot bear children. There's a name for it? Oh, Shalom Aleichem, Oscar. Could not bear children. And the Midrash says 4 women, I counted 5. The Talmud says 3 women. Most famous women are Sarah, Rachel, and Hannah. Now the Midrash says Sarah, Rivka, Rachel, all of them were childless. And they conceived on Rosh Hashanah itself. Not that the decree was on Rosh Hashanah only, because we know for everybody, good, God forbid, and bad decrees are established on Rosh Hashanah for all of us. Now, what was so special with Hannah? Quick introduction. Hannah is the mother of Shmuel, you're right. Shmuel the prophet. You should know Shmuel the prophet was a great prophet. Who is the greatest prophet you ever heard? Moshe Rabbeinu. And his brother Aharon. Shmuel, the Talmud says, is compared to Moshe and Aaron together. We say it every Friday night. Moshe ve'Aaron b'choanav u'Shmuel b'korei shemo. It's from the Lechun Ranana. Read the text. It says there. One hand, one side, Moshe and Aaron, and the other side we have Shmuel. Shmuel Tzaddik was Levi. This Shmuel was a great Tzaddik. He anointed, you're saying, the first king of Israel, Shaul, and later on David. He died at the age of
54, right?
Pretty close, 52.
Okay.
Wow. And we will learn Be'ezrat Hashem when we get, after we finish Yoshua. It's going to take us some time. We're going to study Shoftim. And when we finish Shoftim, we go to Shmuel.
And that 52 is that one of the names of Hashem?
Right, the Gematria. So he is, we'll learn about what happened when he was 2 years old and so forth and so on. Today we're focusing on the story behind the scene of Hannah, how Baruch Hashem, her tefillot were answered. And as you know, I always try to see how these stories related to us today, 2022. Because the Tanakh is not just a book of history. It comes to teach us a lesson. The Talmud says it clearly. Nevu'ah shelo nitzrecha ledorot. Meaning every prophecy that it's not really needed for the generations were not written. There was millions of nevuot, prophecies. Only certain nevuot, prophecies were written in stories in the life of our ancestors. Avraham, Yitzchak, Yaakov. Okay. The story of Hana, do you know in which way is related to us today? Do you have any idea?
Right.
How we daven.
How we daven? For example, give me an example.
You have to daven loud enough to hear yourself. She was praying.
Okay. We see all that. Maybe I will have time to share how even her prayer is related to Tefillat Shmoneh Esrei. Each one is of the word of that she said related to one of the brachot, the Baruch Atah Hashem, we sang in the Shemoneh Esrei itself. But before we go there, let's go for the first pasuk. It's a story about a great person. His name was Elkanah. You should know that Elkanah was a great tzaddik, very famous, and he had a minhag. What's a minhag? Custom. What's the custom? Custom is to travel every holiday, Sukkot, Passover, Shavuot, to make Aliyah. Aliyah l'regel, pilgrim, they call it, the pilgrimage. So, people saw him, the great tzaddik, traveling all the way to Yerushalayim, and they joined him. Elkanah started the journey to Yerushalayim with few people, ends up with thousands of people following him, big crowd. They feel it's much beracha to join such a tzaddik. You can imagine. Remember what I'm telling you, it's very important details now. That such a tzaddik, he chooses the people around him carefully, right? Especially where he lives, his neighbors. And especially his wife. And he had two wives. One of them was Penina, and the second one was Hana. That's it. Now let's go to the text. ויהי אחד מן הרומתיים צופי מהר אפרים ושמו אלקנה בן ירוחם בן Are you ready with the translation?
I didn't bring my book.
I'm sorry. Okay.
Sure. I'm sorry. Okay, now where are we?
בן ירוחם בן אליהו בן תוכו בן צוף בן אפרותי. Read בבקשה. Out loud so I can hear on the speaking. Aleph, yes.
There was a certain man from Ramadan Zophim, from Mount Ephraim, whose name was Elkanah, son of Yeroham, son of Elihu, son of Tohu, son of Zub, from the land of Ephraim. He had two wives. One. I'm sorry.
ולא שתי נשים, שם אחת חנה ושם השני פנינה, ויהי לפנינה ילדים ולחנה אין ילדים.
He had two wives. One's name was Hana, and the second's name was Penina. Penina had children, but Hana had no children.
Okay, that's the story. Can you imagine a woman of a tzaddik that see the second woman, Penina, they meet. They meet on Shabbat, and holidays, and events, on Bar Mitzvah, Bat Mitzvah, I don't know, wedding. They're meeting each other. Barbecue maybe when they have Christmas. They have a Christmas back then? No, they don't do no. Thanksgiving, no Thanksgiving.
He wasn't around.
Maybe Thanksgiving.
What year was that?
Way before.
BCE.
So they're meeting all the time. Can you imagine, huh?
They don't live in the same house?
No.
No, you can't. Halachically you can't.
Ah.
So they have two houses and
Must. So it's a matter of tzniut. So, but this is why I say they're meeting in certain events. And you can imagine that Penina has children running around her. She may be holding a baby, and Hana is looking. She's dying. By the way,
But wait, that's breaking the Ten Commandments. You're not supposed to covet what somebody else has.
I'm not saying covet, but just saying she has desire, a very strong desire to have children. And by the way, you should know to be very careful not to praise your children too much in front of other people, because they can give them, I know,
Ayin hara. Yeah.
especially when you see women that they don't have children, they just get married and they are together for a long time, and your child is hanging around and making too much noise, and it's painful sometimes to some women to look at something like that, and they might give the evil eye. So you have to be careful with these kind of things. Going back to the text, Ve'ala ish ha'u me'iro, number 3, מימים ימימה להשתחוות ולסבוח להשם צבא בשילה ושם בשנה בני עלי חופני ופנחס כהנים לאדוני.
This man would ascend from his city from year to year to prostrate himself and to bring offerings to Hashem, master of legions, in Shiloh, where the two sons of Eli, Hophni and Pinchas, were Kohanim to Hashem.
Right. So back then we're talking about the days that we didn't have the base Mikdash. Temple is not built yet. There is the temporary Mishkan, tabernacle. So what's the story of the tabernacle? We know that it was 39 years in the desert. Right? Took a year to build when they started building. And then when they entered the land of Israel, it was, as we've learned in Yeshua, 14 years in the Gilgal. Then he moved to Shiloh. In Shiloh, it was it was 369 years in one place, holy place, the Kohanim, sacrifice and everything. Then moved to Nov, 57 years. At the very end, at Givon, 44 years. And from there, King David took it to the Ark to Yerushalayim, and then Shlomo built it in Yerushalayim. So the story happens now in Shiloh, within these 369 years. Eli is the high priest, a great tzaddik, old man, has two sons, Hophni and Pinchas. Later on we see that there was some issues with these two boys. Nonetheless, they were tzaddikim, but they messed up a little bit. And they are Kohanim, Eli is the Kohen, everything is good. Making Aliyah. We're saying pilgrimage? What do you call
Yes.
it? Pilgrimage. Okay. Now the story starts. Pasuk Dalet. Vayehi Hayom. You see the word Vayehi? What will we learn about the word Vayehi?
Bad things?
Yeah.
Vai, like cry out. ויהי היום, ויזבח אלקנה, ונתן לפנינה אשתו, כל בניה ובנותיה מנות. I'm reading 2 פסוקים. ולחנה ייתן מנה אחת אפיים, כי את חנה אהב, ואדוני סוגר את רחמו. read the 2 פסוקים.
It happened on the day that Elkanah brought offerings that he gave portions to Peninnah his wife and to all her sons and daughters. But to Hana he gave a double portion, for he loved Hana and Hashem had closed her womb.
So imagine to yourself, it's a barbecue, a family of Elkanah sitting together. There's one table, Nina with her children, she have 10 children. And Hana sitting all by herself. They're getting a portion of nice steaks and pargiot, shawarma, shish kebab, good stuff. And he see the other wives crying. She's sad. She's upset. So in order to comfort her, he gave her double portion. Like she wants, double shawarma. What's that going to do anything? But what he could do. The question is if he really felt the pain of Hana. So, he has children. They have children. Just not from Hana. So who really feel the pain? Hana. She's lonely. Lonely by herself. Eating maybe not even eating. I'm sorry. So let's read the next one. V'chiasata, number 1. V'chiasata tzara, number 6. V'chiasata tzarata gam ka'as ba'avur har'ima ki sagar Adonai ba'ad Rahman. 6.
Her rival Penina provoked her again and again in order to irritate her, for Hashem had closed her womb.
Let's do one more. וכן, make it even worse. וכן יעשה שנה ושנה, מידי עלותה בבית אדוני, כן תכעיסנה, ותבכה ולא תאכל.
This is what he would do year after year. And whenever Penina would go up to the house of Hashem, she would provoke her. She would cry and not eat.
So what really happened? The Talmud give us a little bit more details, more information. It's not 1 day, 2 days, 1 month, 2 months. Every year, and she suffers every day. She wakes up, she has no children. And year after year, she sees what's going on around her, and she is childless. She's very upset. And Penina, what she's doing, Penina comes with a plate and says, "Oh, I brought you some shish kebab for you and for your children." "Oh, I'm sorry, you don't have a children. I forgot."
Yikes.
They go back home,
Mean girl.
and she come with 2 bags of clothing, and she said, "This is for your older son, and that's gonna be for your young." "Oh, I forgot again. You don't have children." What do you say about that?
She's mean.
Mean girl.
Wait a minute. I heard somewhere that she was trying to urge her to
Right.
daven harder.
Right.
Now,
So
I
the Talmud
don't know if
says-
that's a good idea.
The
but-
Talmud says, Satan, the Satan, and Penina, Leshem Shomayim Nitkavnu. They had a good intention. Satan is a story with Job. The Satan, this is attracted Masechet Baba Basra. You can see it in page Tet Zayin, 16. Talking about 2 that had 2 intentions. One is the Satan when he dealt with Job. Job is a phenomenal book to learn. And he saw that Hashem is very pleased with Job, and he was, hey, what about Avram? Avram is the tzaddik. All of a sudden, all of a sudden, Satan becomes tzaddik. That is, thinking positively about Avram. But you can look it up in the Talmud, how the Satan was very excited that one of the rabbis talked positively for him, and he kissed him, and so he had good intention. But what happened after, it was a disaster for Job. And Penina had a good intention. She said, "This is make no sense to me. I know Elkanah, my husband, he is a tzaddik, and I know Hana is tzaddika. She's righteous. If she is in such a high level, why her prayers are not accepted? It means that she is not praying from the bottom of her heart. She's not crying. So what I'm going to do? I'm going to make her cry so she can daven and have children." She had good intention. Yet, it was a disaster for Penina.
Didn't Adam Rishon also
Why?
have good intention?
You had a good intention, it's fine. But that wasn't the right way. Later on, the Talmud tells us, she succeeded with her mission. Hana really cried, we'll see it. And she got children. First one was Shmuel. But every child that Hana had, Penina was buried too. Penina buried 8 children. The last 2, she figured out what's the problem. And she came to ask forgiveness from Hana. Nonetheless, she had a good intention. And then Hana took responsibility with the other children. Of course, she gave her mechila, complete forgiveness. But she could save only 2. See, sometimes we have a good intention, but the road to hell is saying it's paved
with good intention. Didn't Adam Rishon have good intention when he ate? He thought that's what
right.
Hashem
He added more restrictions.
wanted.
So, anyways, Let's go to the text. So, what's the key? If Hana, her mazal is to have no children, how she was able to change her mazal? You know, everybody, before he comes to this world, he chooses his, like we talked with the detector, and you have your own mazal. Mazal of parnasa, children, or so forth. Hana, her mazal is no kids. But we saw that you were able to change her mazal. Can we use the same trick? Can we use the same method? What was her method? Prayers. We could be praying. Many of us praying every day, all the time. It's not always fulfilled. People will tell you, 99% of my prayers never fulfilled. Some will say, even 100%. I'm praying for 30 years for things, nothing happened.
She actually doesn't pray for herself. She prays for God. She gives a child away.
Yes.
Okay, so she made an extra. She took the extra mile, right? So let's see what happens. What time is it? Oh my God! I have time.
8:33.
Here, you need to watch.
Always me.
It's not halftime.
פסוק ח' 8 ויאמר לה אלקנה אישו חנו למה תבכי ולמה לא תאכלי ולמה ירע לבבך הלא אנוכי טוב לך ו10 בונים. What did she say?
Elkanah, her husband, said to her, Hannah, why do you cry and why do you not eat? Why is your heart broken? Am I not better to you than 10 children?
I don't understand that. Is he challenging her? Is he serious? She has no children. What's going on with you, Elkanah? You're a tzaddik, you're smart, you know what's going on. You know she's so upset, she's so sad. You're telling her that you're better than 10 kids. You think that will comfort her?
No.
Do you think that Elkanah really realized the situation, or he just accepted as is? It looks like the tzaddik says, you know what? This is your goral. This is your mazal. By the way, it's not far from the truth, because some people meant to have no children, or never get married, or God forbid, I don't know, living with a sickness. Chas v'shalom. It's all well connected to the gilgul, the life before. Someone that I'm not insinuating, I'm not hinting to anybody. I don't know the cheshbon of anyone. I'm just telling you what's the wisdom of the Zohar, the Kabbalah is teaching us. Sometimes one doesn't deserve to have a wife, because the life before it was very cruel to his wife, very mean. He beat her, maybe he killed her, who knows? So he's going to come to this world, live long life with a much desire to have, and everything will collapse one after another. You know, it reminds me of a story about something that happened a few years ago. You can learn from here. It's related to our story. How we have to be careful the relationship between a man to his fellow friend. You know, the world of shidduchim in the Haredi is very special. Before they meet, you know, check the backgrounds of the candidates. And then when we see that it could be a good choice of a match, they meet. 1, 2, 3 times, 4 times, finish. This is after a very thorough, background checks and all that. Good. So there was a story with a guy. We call him Avi. This Avi was Bachor Mamash. He was really good. The yeshiva, studying Torah, really smart, successful. The rabbi was speaking highly about him. And he went to Shidduchim. One of the Shidduchim that he had an appointment, it was fixed, right? They met. As soon as he saw her, As soon as he saw her face, he didn't like her. They already set up a meeting. So you have to spend, out of respect, maybe an hour or two, go to buy her a Coca soda or something, free water from the Starbucks. You gotta do something. So this lady is talking to him and is not even responding or is not even looking at her face. For 1 hour, she felt so miserable. He's not even looking at her. He's barely answering her questions. So, of course, after finishing with this date, they went back to the shadchan and they called. Say, it's not for me, let's try the other one. And this Avi, going from a meeting to a meeting every month, and he almost closed the vort. Days before the vort, cancelled. And a year later, another vort, cancelled. 4 times gets to a vort and cancel. At this point, he realized there is a problem. So he went, I think they were Chaim Kanievsky. Ask him, Rabbi, what's going on here? Gets to a vort 1 time, it happens. 2nd time, I heard stories, but 4 times. So the Chaim told him what he tells everybody, almost the same answer. Check your history. If you didn't erase it, check the history. If you hurt someone's feelings. So he's thinking and thinking. Can't find. Day after day after day, he's going through the list that he has, and then he finds a girl's name that he put on a note from 6 years ago. So he called the shadchanit and he asked for the phone number. And the shadchanit heard the story, she understand, she gave him the phone number. Long story short, he calls this lady and she picked up the phone. He immediately introduced himself. I'm Avi from Yeshiva this. Remember 6 years ago? Oh, it's you. She didn't forget. He said, what do you mean it's me? You remember me? Oh, I can't forget you. Today I'm married. I have 2 children already. Baruch Hashem. I will never forget in my life that meeting. I felt so insulted. And she gave him the whole speech. She didn't even look at me, and the this and the that. She couldn't forget. She's married. She has children. She can't forget a meeting, 1 hour meeting. And he mamash begged. He says, Bevakasha, please, I'm asking for mechila, for forgiveness. Please say the word 3 times. Mochel, mochel, mochel. She said, of course, I'm mochel to you. I forgive you, but it should be a lesson to you. And please share this story. Of course, not mentioning my name, but share the story so other Bocharim will learn the lesson. Chazon Ish says more than once that the relationship between a man to his friend is like fire, it's esh. You have to be very careful. So we see here Penina, we see Hana. Nonetheless, Penina had a good intention, and the Talmud bothered to tell us that at the end of the day, you hurt her feeling. You could probably find another way to wake her up. She succeeded with the mission. She made her cry. It worked. But there is an open cheshbon, open account. And nothing goes by. It's a world of tzedek. It's a world of emet, of truth. So, now, Elkanah is asking her, why are you upset? She can't even answer. It doesn't look like she's answering. We don't find an answer. The next pasuk says the following. Read number 9. Tet. Matakom Hana אחרי אוכלה בשילה ואחרי שותו ואלי הכהן יושב על הכיסא המזוזת היכל אדוני.
She was feeling bitter, and she prayed to Hashem, weeping continuously.
No, it's not the one. Number 9.
Oh, sorry. Hana arose after eating in Shiloh and after drinking, and Eli the Kohen was sitting on the chair near the doorpost.
Immediately, at this point, Hannah noticed one great thing. She realized that no one can help her. Even if her husband, the tzaddik of the generation, gave up already, it means now it's between me and Hashem. Enough is enough. At this point, she's already encouraged. How do I know that she's encouraged? Because she's eating and drinking all of a sudden. She has the strength to eat. She drinks something, she eats it. I found a solution. No one can help you. It's a lesson for all of us. Only you. Don't need mediators. Remember, no angels, nothing. Don't count on anybody. We communicate with Hashem directly. Yes, the rabbis can give blessing and they give you a push. The tzaddik can give you a blessing and then push you barachot. But at the end of the day, it's on us, this responsibility. So she said, fine, that's the only way. She ate, she drank, and she's going to the temple in Shiloh. When Eli is there, by the way, first woman coming in, doing something like he never saw before. He was surprised. And he approached her with the questions. Go ahead.
Can I ask you a question? Did they have, I know Hashem ultimately decides who will have children and who won't and how many. Did they have some sort of ancient fertility treatments that she tried also?
You know, I'm sure she would. She did.
She did.
In
Because
Yemen, they tell a lot of story. What did they do in order to help women that... so some tricks, and even today there's some tricks they can use with some root that looks like... you know what I'm talking about? The roots that look like a human being. I forgot the name. That you can take and eat and whatever. There's some tricks you can use, but sometimes the mazal is closed. Whatever you do, you need something more powerful than that. And actually, the tractate of Yevamot, Samech Dalet 64 says that there is a reason why there is akarut. Akarut is maybe you can give me another word. Childless. Akar.
Barren.
Barren? Okay. Why Hashem made certain people, especially our ancestor, barren? Barren, is that right?
Barren. Barren.
Because Hashem, the Talmud says in Masechet Yevamot, Samech Dalet, Hashem waiting for such great tefillot that come from a people that will teach other people how to pray, teach us a lesson. With tears, something that comes from the bottom of your heart, and point that you know no one else can help you. No doctors, no medication, no father, mother, husband, no one. It's you and Hashem. It says in the Talmud, Hashem mit'aveh, like Hashem is yearning, letfilotom shel tzadikim, to the prayer of the tzadikim. So, what was so special about the tefillah of Hana? That's it. פסוק י' 10 והיא מרת נפש שתתפלל על השם ובכה תבכה. This is one of the main keys in tefillah that Hannah is teaching us. Read it please.
She was feeling bitter and she prayed to Hashem, weeping continuously.
Right. Crying. Remember that we learned that the gates of tears were never closed. Since the destruction of the temple, all the gates are closed, except the sha'ar, the gates of tears. As it says, sha'are dim'a lo nin'alu. They're open. With a sincere prayer that comes from the bottom of your heart with tears, you can, the tefillah go through directly to Hashem. So we ask a question, so there is no gates. The gates are open, why we need gates? No, we don't need gates. Remove the gates. Why there's gates? So there's tears and there's tears. Some people cry for real problems. The bottom of their heart, they have issues. But some, out of jealousy, these guys have, I don't know, a Ferrari, and he wants Ferrari too. I opened this in 2001. This is not a real tears. A real tears is someone that have a real issue. For them, the gates are closed. So she's crying and she is threatening, according to Gemara, she's threatening God. Wow. You know what she did? Hana get to the point that she is, in Hebrew is saying, lishbor et hakelim, like break the game, to cancel the game. She's saying, okay, Hashem, you force me to force you. Now tell her what I'm going to do if you don't give me children. Ali is there listening. I think she's a crazy woman. What she's doing? She's saying, let me read it from the text. Oh. She's saying to Hashem, Hashem, you know what? I can't find it. Let me say it. Let me say it by heart. I can't find it now. She said, Hashem, you created me with legs and eyes and what do you call it? Breast to feed children. So this is in vain. Why you created me as a woman? If you created me that way, and I have the body parts to feed a child, give me a child. Your creation is in vain. And if you don't give me a child, I'm going to force you. What she's doing, she's going to bend Hashem's hand. What she's going to do? She said to Hashem, Elech ve'estater bifnei Elkana. She said, I've learned Torah. My husband gives speeches, I'm listening all the time. I'm going in front of my husband to go to a house with another man, close the door behind me. Wait there a few minutes and leave. What? What are you doing? Why she's doing that? Did you learn the Masechet Sota? The halacha says the following: if a husband suspects that his wife cheated on him, so he's taking her to Yerushalayim, to the Kohen. Of course, there's a condition that he can be with her. They're taking her with escort, they're going all the way, and she stands before the Kohen. And he says to the Kohen, I brought my wife because she was with another man, and I have witnesses, which Hana said also, I'm going to bring witnesses, I'm going to do the whole thing. And now the Kohen is talking with the woman and says, please admit, before I have to take Hashem's name, write it, dry it, break it, erase it to a cup for you to drink. Back then, they had a very special lie detector. What did they do? They took Hashem's name, like in mezuzah parchment, they write a pasuk, some ashes from the altar, put it in the cup, mix it, no sweetener, let her drink. Let her drink. If she cheated, immediately, minutes later, her stomach blow, she will die on the spot with suffering. And by the way, the one that cheated with her, also that wherever he's at, he's in Argentina, I don't know, washing dishes in the restaurant, is going to collapse at the same time. It's one of the miracles that Hashem brought to this world. You can't cheat the system. But if she didn't cheat, but yet she drank from the cup, you know what's going to happen?
She's going to have a child.
Huh?
She's going to have a child.
The Talmud says, first of all, she's going to have a child. And when the Talmud brings the whole list. If they were short, they become tall. They're going to be very good children. Let's put it that way. There's a whole list there. The black and white, I can explain. You know the Talmud. I can explain the black and white also. If you were this and that, it's not for the time now to discuss what, but she's going to have really, really good things from now on, and blessing and good children, and great children. They become great people, smart, long life, a blessing to her, long life to her. Why? Because she was embarrassed in front of all of her friends. Had to go through such process to prove her innocence. It's really embarrassing. And Hashem will go. Then she said, Hana, that's what I'm going to do. If that's the process, I'm going to go to a house, close the door, I'm going to make sure two witnesses. Now my husband, according to Halakha, must take me to the Kohen. I know I didn't do anything. And then I'm going to drink from that, and you'll have to give me his child. You hear that?
Chutzpah.
Smart.
Yes.
That's
Pretty smart woman.
Chutzpah, smart. You know, you got to know how to play the game. So we can see from here, this lady really wants a child. But this is not only that. It's not only that. It's the power of the tefillah and the effort she puts into her prayer. It's a lesson for generations, a lesson for life. So I don't know if you'll be able to do all of it today, or obviously not. It's already 9. So the last 5 minutes, I'm going to share with you a little more information. Maybe we can continue this next, maybe for Yom Kippur, the second part of this class. You okay with that? Because I didn't finish what I wanted to say. Okay. So she said the following. Yud Aleph, 11. That's 5 minutes. ותידור נדר ותאמר אדוני צבאות אם רעות תראה בעוני אמתך וזכרתני ולא תשכח את אמתך ונתת לאמתך זרע אנושים ונתתיו לאדוני כל ימי חייו ומורא לא יעלה על ראשו.
She made a vow and said, Hashem, master of legions, if you take note of the suffering of your maidservant, and you remember me, and do not forget your maidservant, and give your maidservant male offspring, then I shall give him to Hashem all the days of his life, and a razor shall not come upon his head.
First of all, we learn that more prayers, the better. Nevertheless, in the book, in the tractate Masechet Brachot, it said, don't push it too much. But in the other hand, it says, in the same Masechet, it says that you should pray a lot. So where's the balance? It means that you should pray a lot. As we say, Kaveh el Hashem, Chazak, v'yametz libecha, ve'kaveh el Hashem, Kaveh, hope. No, you were not answered? Don't lose your hope. Do it again. I mean, don't expect that after your first tefillah and tzedakah you gave, Hashem will answer your prayers right away. There's someone who's running this world. He knows better than you how to do things. Your part, your role in this world, to make effort. Do tefillot, Hashem will do the rest. Hana not only forcing, manipulating the whole system, she's praying and making promises. Hashem, not only I want a child, I want to dedicate him for Torah. Oh, that's a different story. She want to dedicate the child. She really means it. Hashem see her heart. And it really happens. You will see that later when she got a child, when he become 2 years old. 2 years old, the baby. Just lost diapers. She took him to the Mishkan in Shiloh, and he spent the rest of his life in Kedusha, around Torah, and he left his house. He lived like in some sort of a kibbutz, around Eli, learning from 2 years old, 1 year before the Hafshir, or the Chalakah. It's crazy. But when we learn that, when we get there, we see that he was very developed. He was a very special child. So she making promises to Hashem. I just want to have a child to play football.
For the Packers.
Go to the Mavericks, the Packers. What's the name?
Packers.
Packers.
That's,
I want a child that will be a scholar. I was waiting for such a request. He took a special neshama from a very special place. There's only a few of them there, and give it to Hana. Let's move on. Then Eli is coming, and all of a sudden we see a woman that she's moving her lips, but he doesn't hear a voice. Before that, he never experienced something like that. People talking, moving their lips, and he can hear voice. You see a woman, and he goes, something here with the sound is not right. Maybe the speakers are off. What's going on? He comes close and he doesn't see. She's not saying anything. She's like moving her lips, but she doesn't say anything. No voice come out of her mouth. Go ahead. Oh, let me read it. וחנה, 13, וחנה היא מדברת על ליבה, רק שפתיה נאות, וקולה לא יישמע, מחשביה אלי לשיכורה. 13.
Hannah was speaking to her heart. Only her lips moved, but her voice was not heard, so Eli thought she was drunk.
רש"י says שלא היו רגילים להתפלל בלחש. Till that day, everybody had, when they pray, they never had a silent tefillah. It was out loud. You know, back then, some people daven 5 minutes, some 1 hour, some 3 hours. They didn't have siddur. Siddur was formed years later, before the beginning, around the time of the second temple, by the Anshe Knesset Agdola. Right now. So why she was not saying things out loud, like everyone else, like a normal person? Say it out loud. Shem, I'm going to give you a hint. I'm going to do this. I'm going to go to the house. I'm going to do witnesses. I'm going to force you. She has a reason why not to say, because Eli said she's a crazy woman, threw her out of here. She wants to be in the most holy place, daven to Hashem, but she's hiding her tefillot. Otherwise, Eli will kick her out. Right? She has all the reasons in the world to do it silently. And Eli thought she is shikora. She is drunk. How he figured? He saw this lady. He know her for many years. It's not the first time he see this lady. She comes every year. She is the wife of Elkanah, the tzaddik of the generation. You look at her and say, this is Hana. What is going on here? Something is real. Let me ask in the Urim and Tumim. It's the combination. And then he gets letter, Shin and Cha and Resh and Hey. The message comes out of order. You need to put the letters together. So he puts the letters together with high suspicion this lady is just crazy. He says, as I thought, Shin, Chaf, Resh, Shikora, drunk. Lady, ma'am. And then Hana says, yes, how can I help you? Ma'am, you're drunk. How you determine that? How do you know? Come on. I just asked in Urim and Tumim, and they got the letter Shin, Kaf, Resh, Shikora. He says, no. You put the order. It says keshera, kosher, not shikora. You misplaced the letters. She is rebuking Eli for not putting the letters together. You know what I'm talking about? I'm talking about Hana, such a great woman. But yet, her tefillah is not accepted yet. She is in the midst of doing tefillah. Okay. So we are also in the middle of our story. With Bezrat Hashem, we continue part B next time. And Bezrat Hashem, either here or in another house, will be part B. Any question so far? We good? Bottom line, the idea is before Rosh Hashanah, it's just around the corner. What am I saying? Shachrit is just around the corner. Tomorrow is Monday. Shachrit. With kavanah, with intention. With tears. You can open gates. And if you cannot cry, what did we say? We've learned that. Someone says, Rabbi, someone told me the other day, many years ago, I can't cry. I was in the Israeli army, I saw a lot of crazy stuff. Ever since, I don't cry. So I'm going to miss this great thing of crying and tears? To open gates? What should I do? So I told them, there's a solution. The Peleo Eitz, right under the letter Bet, Bechi, crying, that if you cannot cry, make the sound as if you're crying. As King David wrote in Psalms, Shama Hashem, Hashem heard, Kol Bichi, the voice of my crying. Not that it's crying with tears. If you can't, you're a tough guy, or a tough woman, you can't cry. So, make a sound like, Hashem, please, at least that. That will do the work. Hashem knows that you can't shed tears. It's fine. But you have to make the voice. Why I have to make the voice? Am I playing games here? Well, what's the reason to make sounds like I'm crying? What am I doing here?
Yeah.
It's a Broadway show. What is it? Off Broadway. What is this? Why?
Histadlus.
Why I need this? Why I need the tears and why I need to act like I'm crying?
That might bring the tears.
Ma?
Might bring it.
Might bring or if I don't have tears,
More feeling, more kavana.
more kavana, more feeling. Eventually, when you cry in a certain way, it breaks you from the inside. It says the halevavot, the hearts, follow the actions. You're involved now with actions of crying and tefillah. At some point, you'll break. Some it'll take few seconds, some minutes, some long minutes, but you'll get there. At least make the effort. No tears. Act like you're crying. It's very, very, very powerful, and it's for free. In Yiddish, you say gratis. Free. Doesn't cost anything. You see, Hashem gave us all the tools in the world to make communication.
No charge.
We don't charge them. We don't take advantage of
Does
it.
he use WhatsApp?
Hana taught us a lesson. Say it again.
Does he use WhatsApp?
He used
Hashem?
everything. He used everything. The best thing to do is to find a place, quiet place. By the way, I sent. I don't know if you heard the message I sent with the information from Shabbat that you asked me and you asked me.
Mm-hmm.
I sent a voice message. You can
I bet, yes.
try to listen. Tell me if the quality is good enough.
7 ways of...
Right, so take a place in the house, outside the house, quiet, talk with Hashem. Believe me, I don't know about you, I have a lot of things to just talk with Hashem. And He will listen to you. Choose, not choose. We are, at the end of the day, His children. So let's make Be'ezrat Hashem, our next tefillah, meaningful. With much kavanah. And every day we learn new things. Okay? So the beauty is to take the text that was written 1,000 years ago and relate it to our 2000. On behalf of the Kazowski and all of Israel Foundation, I want to thank you. I want to thank all those who participated in bringing here Rabbi Nakash. He's coming, I think, in 2 days, Tuesday. Yes. Hashem. So we still have. I'm half the way with the tickets. Anybody that wants from Asrot on the to. By the way, when you support a rabbi, all the Torah of his in this month, you get a share. So it can come from Asrot.
Thank you.